remember when I said it was finally cold in this country? It's not cold anymore. So if you can hear a background noise, please, I'm so sorry about that. Please ignore it. It's just my ceiling fan. I had to keep it on because otherwise I would melt. Hello everyone. It's Nina. I can't believe I'm actually filming a video in time. That's miraculous, and I myself am surprised. I don't know what's going on. But I went out earlier. I went to a French party dressed like a modern mime, as you can see, and I already had on my makeup, so I was just like, you know what, I think I'm just going to film a video today. So today I'm giving you my June wrap up, so all the books that I read in June. I think I read like 8 books, which is really surprising for me. It's really a big deal because I usually read like 3 books in a month, but I wanted to complete my initial Goodreads challenge goal of reading 30 books in the first semester. It was my yearly goal to read 30 books, and I thought it was so cool that I could reach it in the first semester alone. So I ignored school basically and ignored my finals and read a bunch. And in compensation for that, in the last 10 days of June, I couldn't read anything. I was in this huge reading slump. I'm only now getting out of it, but it's getting better already. Since I have a lot of books to talk about and I don't want this video to be super huge, I'm not going to explain what all the books are about, but I will link their Goodreads pages down in the description so you can go and find out what they're about basically. So the first book that I read in June was Vicious by Schwab. I have heard about Vicious for like years. People on BookTube have been saying this book is amazing, have been singing its praises, and now that I'm really looking at it, I'm shocked that I only have like a few tabs in it, because usually when I love a book as much as I love this one, I put a lot of tabs, but I don't know why I have this little tags. But let me tell you, boy oh boy, I really adored this book. My expectations were naturally very high because I had heard so many amazing things about it, so I was really scared but also really excited to get into Vicious, and it did not let me down. It was amazing. I loved the plot, I loved the characters. Above all, I think I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. I just really loved it. I loved the characters so much. Victor Vale is now one of my favorite characters of all time because he's awesome. This book is about villains, and it makes you, cheer for the villains. I don't know, it's just really good, and I'm really excited to read the sequel, Vengeful. I probably will pick it up until the end of the year, but oh my god, I loved Vicious so much. This is an adult sci-fi kind of ish book, fantasy. I don't know where to place this book and in which category, but it's an adult book and it's really good. It's about 2 best friends that end up becoming enemies. I'm not gonna say why. I'm not gonna say what else happens. You just pick up this book, will you? It's not that big and it's very good. Pick it up. Moving on, the second book that I read in June was Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. Hesse or Hesse, I don't know. I also don't know how exactly to pronounce Siddhartha, if it's Siddhartha or Siddhartha, because it's a Hindu name and I don't speak their language, but anyways. So this is a part of the Penguin Drop Caps collection. It is the H, and I only read it because it's really thin. I'm not even sure it has 300 pages. Yeah, it has like 209 pages, so it's really short, and it was a really good book for me to read and achieve my goal of reading 30 books in the first semester. I ended up giving this one a 3 stars. I didn't have any expectations for it. This was the first Hermann Hesse book that I read. I do have Damien as well, but I haven't read it yet. And this is about Siddhartha, who is the son of an Indian Brahmin. I'm sorry if that's not how you pronounce it. Again, I don't know how to pronounce it. But he's basically the son of a religious man, and it's basically Siddhartha questioning his religion and, as a matter of fact, a bunch of other religions, and just trying to find himself in the world. I don't know. It's a really philosophical, spiritual, psychological book, and I really liked some aspect of it and some reflections that I got out of this book, but overall it was just okay for me. Third book that I read in June was Daughter of the Murdering City by Amanda Foody, and if you haven't watched my review for this book yet, go check it out. Since I already reviewed this book in a separate video, I'm going to link that review down in the description, and all I have to say is that I love this book. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. wasn't expecting that much out of it, but it ended up being one of my favorite books of the year. The fourth book that I read in June is one that I should have read a long time ago, and I don't know why I just kept stalling to pick it up. It's a book that everyone loves. It has a movie out that I haven't watched yet, but I am dying to, and that is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I'm going to take this dust jacket off because it's really reflective, and yeah, this is the collector's edition, I think. But anyways, so I really had high expectations for this book because, like I said, everyone loves it, everyone's read it, it has a movie out, and I ended up really enjoying it. I initially gave it 5 stars, but then thinking about it, I lowered it to 4 stars. But nevertheless, I think this is a really, really important book. It touches on so many important subjects, not only police violence against Black people in the U.S., but so many other things. It is really quick to read. It's really good. I love the narration. It's told from the point of view of our main character, Star, and it was just heartwarming overall. Although there are some really sad things that happen, I think this book will always be relevant, always, in 50 years, in 100 years. It's amazing. It's basically amazing, despite, regardless of my rating. I really, really loved it. I think everyone should read it. Hell, I think they should, teach this in schools, put this book as mandatory reading in schools. It's really important. I really want to watch the movie. I really hope they did a good job at adapting this to the big screen. But overall, I don't know why I put this off for so long. It is an amazing book. The next book that I read in June was The Lonely Hearts Hotel by Heather O'Neill. So the only reason why I picked up this book was because on Goodreads it says it has echoes of the Night Circus, and as you might know already, I love the Night Circus, so I was like, I really need more books like that one. So I picked this one up, and the cover, I just love the cover. Isn't it so gorgeous? It's so pretty. And it's basically about 2 orphans, Pierrot and Rose, living in Montreal in the 1920s, if I'm not mistaken, 20s and 30s. They go through the Great Depression and all that, and they have a very tough life. But they're very good friends. They fall in love with each other. They're very talented. Pierrot plays the piano and he's very good at it, and Rose dances. She puts on performances, and the book just accompanies them through their childhood and then their adulthood. So yeah, this was surprisingly good. I think I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars, and I wasn't expecting to enjoy it this much. I probably would have liked it a bit more if it were less about sex, because there are some parts that kind of bothered me, but honestly, it makes a lot of sense. They're there for a reason, so it wasn't useless. It wasn't just for smut or whatever. They make sense in the context of the book. And overall, it's a dark book. There are some really sad parts. It's not a light book by any means, but I really, really enjoyed it. It's an adult one, and yeah, I thought it was gloomy. I liked the atmosphere, but I don't think it has anything to do with the Night Circus. It doesn't have any fantastical elements in it, but nevertheless, I enjoyed it. The next book that I read in June was another drop cap, and that is Candide by Voltaire. So as you can see, this is the V from the collection. Again, I also picked this book because it was very, very thin. I think it's smaller than Siddhartha. No, it's only a few pages longer. It has 214 pages, but still very thin. I was really scared going into this one because since it's Voltaire, it's a classic, it's another century. I was scared that the writing was going to be really difficult, but it wasn't at all. I think Dickens is harder to read than this one. I think I ended up giving this book 3 stars, and it's basically about this guy who has a really fucking twisted life. I mean, he goes through so much, so much, and he stays optimistic, which is why the book is called Candide, or Optimism, because Candide, our main character, had this mentor, tutor, sort of person in his life who thought that everything is meant to be, everything is for the greater good. And so even though he went through some really, really shitty things, he stayed optimistic. And for me, it was just an okay adventure book. I kind of wished it were a bit more detailed and a little bit less rushed. But overall, for a classic. It was pretty good. And finally, the last 2 books that I read in June were 3 Dark Crowns and 1 Dark Throne by Candide Blake. So these are books 1 and 2 in the 3 Dark Crowns series, and book 1 is about this island where every few years a set of triplets is born. The queen gives birth to a set of triplets, and then these 3 sisters have to compete to see who is going to end up with the throne. Honestly, this is a really famous series here on BookTube and Bookstagram, so I had kind of high expectations, but I had also heard mixed things about book 1, and I ended up just thinking it was okay. I didn't really love book 1. The ending was really sickening though. I had to pick up book 2 like immediately just because the ending of 3 Dark Crowns left me wanting more. It was so interesting and it was really cool, but I thought that overall the book was way too filled with fillers. It was slow paced and I didn't really enjoy it that much. But however, book 2, 1 Dark Throne, wow, it was really good. I think I gave 3 Dark Crowns like 2.5 stars, and then I gave this one 3.5 stars. So it was really an improvement. I like the characters overall much better in the second book. I still don't like some of the characters, but I like them better in this book. I liked the plot better, I liked the writing better. I thought everything about this book was better, and I am definitely continuing with this series. Alright everyone, that's it for today's video. Let me know what you read in June in the comments. Let's chat, let's have a talk, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!